Welcome to the paradise island of Sardegna. Think lazy days on the beach, long lunches, and beautiful people promenading. That is until the World Rally Championship hits town and tears the place apart. Before we bring you the second day's action, here's your chance to get up to speed with the first day's total carnage. 2009 Sardegna winner Jari-Matti Latvala charged into the first stage, hoping to keep up with the leaders in the title race. Co-driver Mika Antila held his hand up to a wrong pace note delivered. Jari forgave him immediately, but how costly could that be to their championship hopes? Henrik Solberg's gut-wrenching season continued when he took it to the bridge, quite literally, hitting a bridge on stage 3, which sparked a fire in the rear of his car, but extinguished his hopes of a good finish here in Sardegna. Evgeny Novikov had worked his way up into third, showing a previously unseen maturity. Until the penultimate stage of the day, where he seemed to mishear or ignore co-driver Prevost, wanting to exercise caution. Mini's Chris Meek had flown out of the blocks, setting quick stage times and moving into fourth, but his dream start suddenly turned to a nightmare with his throttle stuck open. There was nothing he could do. Ahead of all this carnage, there was actually a rally going on. Petter Solberg had charged into an early lead, only to lose almost 40 seconds with a turbo problem. Mikko Hirvonen and Sebastian Loeb then battled for the lead early on, with Loeb clearly pushing, before a vintage performance saw the cool-headed Frenchman dominate and build a significant lead. A lead that was further increased when Hirvonen suffered a puncture on the day's penultimate stage, dropping 50 seconds. And the final unexpected twist in the towel was Sebastian Ogier pulling tactics and slowing down in order to drop behind Hirvonen in the running order for a more advantageous start position on day 2. This is how it stands for the second day of this captivating rally. Loeb out front with Petter Solberg his closest challenger. Hirvonen is almost a minute behind the leader, and Ogier just 2.4 seconds behind the leading Ford driver. After Chris Meek's throttle problems dropped him out of contention, we've switched our attentions to Danny Sordo as our featured driver. He had reached the end of day 1 in a satisfying 6th place, having stated before the event that a top 5 finish would be a great debut for the team. He'll be on a charge today.
It will be really difficult today, really narrow and tricky place with a lot of stones in the sides of the road, so we need to be really careful.
And what's the plan of attack going to be?
The plan is to try to continue with the car well, to try to do more kilometers and to change small parts in the car, small things in the suspension for being more confidence and to learn in these roads.
Day 2 of Rally Italia Sardegna will be run on the more familiar Costa Smeralda stages, closer to the service park in Olbia. With 143 kilometres of competitive stages to run, it's sure to be another classic day's rallying. Our stage of the day is the much-loved Monte Lerno, featuring the classic high-flying Mickey's jump, where we've seen some of the most spectacular jumps in the WRC's history. We'll be catching up with Danny Sordo as our new featured driver for regular updates throughout the day. And all the best action from day 2. If it's anything like day 1, then stay exactly where you are. This is how the top WRC runners line up. Loeb again leads from the front with Solberg second on the road. Mikko Hirvonen and Loeb's teammate Sebastian Ogier will hope they can take advantage of a clearer line than the leading pair. Mads Osberg starts 5th, just ahead of Danny Sordo's Mini. Jari-Matti Latvala is restarting under Super Rally rules, as is Chris Meek. Armindo Arrojo is driving a privately entered Mini. And further back, Evgeny Novikov also restarts after that day 1 crash. We have the longest stage of the weekend up next. The 29 kilometres of Koilunia is our first challenge of the second day. And again, it's Sebastian Loeb who leads us away. breathtakingly quick here. The surface is a bit softer than we saw to the west of the island on day one. Loeb managed to lead despite road sweeping yesterday. It remains to be seen how slippery the Citroën Total Man will find this sandy surface this morning. Petter Solberg is the first man to challenge the rally leader. The Norwegian privateer begins this second morning just over half a minute behind Loeb. He's opted for a softer setup this morning, hoping to generate more traction. He's pushing hard to take advantage of that slightly clearer line, and it is looking good. Yep, 7.2 seconds made up on the first stage. So far, so good for Solberg and co-driver Chris Patterson. Big air from Mikko Hirvonen. He's pushing. Like Petter, Hirvonen is fighting to claw back lost time on the opening day, and the four-man is giving it a real go on this second morning. Another incredibly fast-flowing section here. Hirvonen is slightly quicker than Solberg, and he too edges closer to the rally leader. Sébastien Ogier is next into the stage, nice and tidy over the jump. Remember, the Frenchman opted to take road order tactics yesterday evening to ensure he starts behind Petter and Mikko. He dropped more than 20 seconds to give himself this road position, so can he make it count here in this long stage 9? He's got a chance to pass Mikko. He started the stage just 2.4 seconds behind, remember. Yes, he's done it. Ogier up to third place. So far, the tactics looking like they're working out then. Matt Osberg has finally had a clean rally after a frustrating run of bad luck in recent events. He lost a bit of time with brake problems yesterday afternoon, but still begins the second morning in 5th place and not too far adrift of the top 4 drivers. Behind Osberg on the leaderboard is Danny Sordo, flying the flag for the new mini team in the top 6 positions. The Spaniard has made a career out of being quick and controlled, and while his teammate Meek has hit problems, Danny's brought his John Cooper Works WRC through these tough Sardinian stages so far, much to the delight of the travelling Spanish fans. Sordo is 8th quickest on stage 9. With the front runners all through, it's worth keeping an eye on some high-profile Super Rally restarters. Jari-Matti Latvala in particular is flying. He began the morning way down in 45th, but with a stage win to begin the day, he jumps up 7 positions. Latvala still a long way adrift of the top 10 out front. Loeb's lead has been trimmed slightly. Solberg now just 26 seconds behind, and Ogier's passed Hirvonen to slot into 3rd. Danny Sordo still in a comfortable 6th place for Mini. Still to come, the Rally d'Italia's iconic Montilerno jump. It's in our stage of the day, and it's coming up in a few minutes. We'll see you then. Welcome back to sunny Sardinia, where Sébastien Loeb continues to lead despite running as the first car on the road. Earlier we caught up with the world champion to explain just how your performance is affected by sweeping the road for the chasing pack.
You don't have the same grip at all, and you are making the first line on the gravel or the sand. So, and after that the other car are coming on a hard bottom. So on the driving side, when you brake, you are sliding much more. When you turn, it's not reactive; it's starting to slide. At the exit of the corner, you lose the traction, and so it's fun to drive, but it's not fast.
So to our stage of the day, the legendary Montilerno is just under 28 kilometers long, features the same sandy gravel surface as we've already seen on day 2, and is famous for the incredible Mickey's jump. Pro-Drive boss David Richards is among the crowd, and the first to tackle our stage of the day is Sébastien Loeb. The Frenchman releases his Citroën DS3 into this spectacular stretch of road, and as we just heard, will be fighting for traction at every corner of this gravel-covered road.
Et gauche à fond court, plus 1. 100 mètres droite, 140 courgettes.
Loeb slipping and sliding his way through there. Petter Solberg is next through. The Citroën Privateer is giving it everything, but Petter's miserable luck continues. This time a slow puncture means he'll definitely lose a bit of time to the rally leader in Montilerno. Back on the start line is the leading Ford of Mikko Hirvonen. Jarmo Lehtinen looking calm alongside him. Really aggressive getaway for the Finn. He made up almost 8 seconds on the rally leader on the opening stage of the day. With another 28 kilometres to tackle in Montilerno, he'll hope for a similar performance in here. Sébastien Ogier has just passed Hirvonen on the leaderboard. The Frenchman also pushing hard early on in our stage of the day. Up ahead, though, the split times have looked quite promising for Loeb. Looking at his telemetry, you can get a sense how aggressively he has to drive as he fights the car on this loose gravel. Trying to be really careful to avoid sliding under braking. He also needs to be really precise with trees and rocks really tight alongside the road verges. Approaching Montilerno's famous jump now. Loeb hitting around 70 kilometres an hour and a huge leap from the world champion. This is a really impressive drive from Seb. Let's take another look at him over the jump. Does touch the brakes slightly there, but that's still a massive flight for Loeb. And a good time too.
Sebastian, the cleaning doesn't look to be too bad.
Cleaning was bad. I had to take big risks to was slippery nearly everywhere. We had some parts in the stage where it was less. The start was terrible. The end was okay. In the middle, it was very slippery still, but I pushed really, really hard.
Hirvonen, meanwhile, is fast approaching Mickey's jump, named after Italy's double world champion Mickey Biasion. Mikko, like Mickey, always ready to entertain the crowds. Has he made another impact on Loeb's advantage? Well, he has, but just 2.8 seconds gained in Montilerno, running behind Seb on the road. He'd have hoped for better than that.
Seb is just, you know, he's very good being first on the road. I mean, it's hard surf and it's clean, he's still pulling those times, so it's not quite enough.
Further back, Mads Osberg is still doing his best to stay in touch with the leading quartet. Oh, and judging from that display over Mickey's jump, the M Sport Stobart man is certainly giving it a go. Let's take another look at that from inside the car. Wow, the Norwegian is definitely enjoying himself out there. David Richards will be an interested observer of the next car through. His team, of course, running the Mini of Danny Sordo. Impressive stuff from the Spaniard too, and he's still safe in 6th. The fastest man for the second consecutive stage is Jari-Matti Latvala. The Finn loves these roads, and although frustrated to be out of the fight, is certainly showing incredible pace. For poor old Chris Meek, though, there is no sign of his frustration ending. We know he has the pace, we saw that yesterday morning, but at the moment, luck has deserted him. Another serious problem here for Chris, and again he's forced to call it a day. An early bath again for Meek and co-driver Paul Nagel. Not much movement on the leaderboard then after the first pass through Montilerno. Loeb's actually extended his overall advantage after Petter's puncture, although Ogier and Hirvonen have both closed up slightly on the rally leader. Osberg remains in 5th. The third stage in the morning loop is Sol Fidegusu, slightly wider and faster than Montilerno. It's an impressive stretch of road as well. This is the shortest stage of the day, so Loeb will be hopeful he won't lose too much time road sweeping in here. There's a lot of loose gravel though, and the Citroën man is again fighting with the wheel as he searches for grip. Bit of a pace note correction there as well. You can see he's reaching some impressive speeds from his in-car telemetry. But even so, Seb could lose more time in here.
Et droite 90 moins long tard corps de max. Et droite 130 plus long tard en 3 fois.
Petter Solberg really wide at that left-hander. The Norwegian has yet again been forced to respond to another setback after that slow puncher in stage 10. Might have rattled his confidence a bit though. Petter is struggling to match Loeb's pace at the moment.
Half long makes 5 plus 40. 6 left minus half long. Opens 30, 2 left plus half long, tight 1 tight.
Petter's drop off in pace. Here's a chance for Hirvonen to take advantage too. The Finn has been right on the limit in Sorthilagusu. Carefully through this long water splash. He started more than 5 seconds down on Solberg, but he could get past him here. Into the flying finish. Yep, Mikko up to provisional second place with Ogier still on the stage. And taking a look at our WRC stage simulator, this could be a very productive stage indeed for Mikko. Comparing his pace with Solberg's and Ogier's through the split time after 10.7 kilometres. We know he's beaten Solberg, and he could get past Ogier as well here. 8.6 seconds up at Sebastian at that point. So joining Ogier now, he was just 3.5 seconds up on Mikko before this stage. So barring a miraculous recovery in the final sector, he's going to struggle to stay ahead here.
Gauche 140 mini, gauche 140 mini, sur droite 140 plus corde, sur gauche 140 à fond mini. 60 mètres, arrivée.
Not a good stage for Sebastian, 6.7 seconds slower, and Ogier slips down to 4th. Bit of a reshuffle on the leaderboard then. Loeb remains out front, but Hirvonen is now his closest rival. He's 35.4 seconds behind, but it's all still very close after that. There's just 3.2 seconds between Hirvonen, Solberg and Ogier. Next for the cruise is a well-earned break back at the new service park on the ferry port in Olbia.
We were delighted last night to hear you say, I've had enough of tactics, that's enough, maximum attack. Is that still your plan?
Yeah, definitely. I'm fed up with these tactics things, you know, and I want to go for it. That's why we're here.
It wasn't clean drive, but I don't know, everybody are pushing really hard, so it's just how it went. But I think, you know, it wasn't quite enough how much I need to take time out of Sebastian, but pretty good anyway.
Back up to the hills above Olbia for the afternoon pass through the same 3 stages used this morning now, and the pressure's on the rally leader to keep pushing. The Italian fans in good voice, even if they are cheering for drivers who aren't even competing. Loeb will want to build up a healthy advantage to give himself some breathing space on the final day. Big jump there, and he can't afford any mistakes this afternoon. Despite this being the second pass, it's still looking quite slippery out there for the world champion. He's through in a time half a minute quicker than the first run, but does he think his pace is quick enough?
What do you think will be enough tonight to hold the lead tomorrow?
I think the minimum is 20. So we'll try.
Loeb after at least 20 seconds then. Petter Solberg's currently more than 37 seconds behind the leader and needs to start making an impact on his advantage if he's to have any hopes of catching him. It's certainly a good start for Petter in the afternoon loop. He's almost 8 seconds quicker than the world champion.
I know I can beat Loeb, you know, so I just have to get a little bit luck on my side.
You say you know you can beat Loeb, what, that's this weekend or all the time?
No, on this rally, I know I can fight with him, you know. But I need some luck, guys.
So Petter thinks he can beat Loeb, but first he needs to concern himself with Hirvonen and Sebastian Ogier, the first of whom has just made it past Petter, and Mikko's charge has continued. Hirvonen slashes 8.5 seconds from the leader's advantage. Ominously for the leading 3 drivers though, Sebastian Ogier has finally woken up on this second day. Not knowing these stages too well, he took a slightly cautious approach in the morning loop. In this second pass, he's back on the limit, and he could get past Solberg here. Yes, a stunning drive from the Jordan winner. Ogier is up to 3rd.
14-0.
Further back, Danny Sordo has looked untroubled for the last day and a half, but his run in 6th place could be under threat here. Worryingly, Danny's car is developing a similar throttle problem to the one that has affected his teammate Chris Meek. Cautiously makes his way through to the stage finish, really struggling. Well, Danny and co-driver Carlos Del Barrio both wearing black armbands there. I'm not too sure what that's a tribute for. But let's have a word with the mini driver at the end of stage 12.
Danny, I noticed you have a black band on your arms. What's this for?
Because a colleague, Severano Ballesteros, he died, and it's people he lived beside me, and he's really important sportsman. So
was a little cancer from some years before, and today we passed at the better life. So
a touching tribute to Danny's compatriot Sevi Ballesteros then. Sordo is still 6th at the moment, while at the front with 2 stages remaining today, Loeb's lead has been trimmed again, and Ogier's charge has seen him past Solberg to claim 3rd. Crucial pair of stages still to run on day 2 then. They could go a long way to determining the outcome of this rally, and they're coming up after this break. Welcome back to the rally at Italia Sardegna. We'll get back to the fight at the front shortly, but first a chance to check on the progress of the SWRC runners. Wojciech Tanak has been the star of the show so far in Italy. The Estonian youngster has continued where he left off on day 1, fastest than all but 2 of the day's stages. There has been drama behind the rally leader, though. Martin Prokop first lost time trying to get past an ailing Daniel Oliveira on stage 9. Then on stage 10, a power steering fluid leak caused a fire inside the car. The Czech star was beginning to lose ground. And taking advantage of Prokop's problems was Juho Hänninen. Second fastest on the first 3 stages, he charged past Prokop to claim 2nd place on stage 11. Tanak, though, the man to beat with 1 day remaining. Tanak's lead now stands at 48.6 seconds over Hänninen, while Nasser Al-Attiyah is now up to 3rd following Prokop's problems. And it's been just as eventful in the final day of the WRC Academy competition. Christian Reideman's run in the lead was over almost before it had begun. A broken drive shaft meant the German youngster's 2nd day lasted only a few metres. Replacing Reidemann in the top spot and becoming the 5th different leader was Fredrik Arlin, but the Swede's Ford Fiesta R2 would let him down on stage 10, broken steering ending his brief run out front. The 6th different leader was Egon Kauer. The Estonian's safety-first approach has proved a wise tactic, and suddenly he was on course to take his 2nd consecutive Academy win. His closest rival was Miguel Baldoni, but with the Argentine driver over 45 seconds behind, the 23-year-old sensibly opted to ease his car home for 2nd, leaving Kauer free to claim victory in Sardinia. Kauer claimed the win by a margin of almost 2 minutes ahead of Baldoni. Arlin recovered to finish 3rd, with Jan Czerny 4th and Brendan Reeves 5th. Unsurprisingly, with maximum scores in the opening 2 rounds, it's Kauer who is the championship leader on 58 points. Baldoni a distant 2nd on 26. Victor Henriksson is in 3rd. Back up to the sharp end now then, and a crucial pair of stages ahead for rally leader Sebastian Loeb. He needs to be at his best to keep the chasing pack at arm's length. Great commitment from Sebastian again, putting in one of his customary champions performances this afternoon, powering over Mickey's jump. If his rivals want to beat him now, they're going to have to pull out something special.
Sometimes we had to accept that we are losing a lot of time, and it was very frustrating. So we had to keep the concentration until the end of the day. It's what we have done. I think we have done really a good day. So I'm happy from my performance since the start of the rally, and tomorrow will happen what happens.
Peter Solberg showed impressive pace in the first stage of the afternoon loop, but for some reason the Citroën Privateer can't find the same level. He seems to be struggling for traction. He may have pushed a bit too hard in the loop's opening test and worn his tyres a bit. He's not given up though. Solberg beats Loeb by a couple of tenths in stage 14.
I think it's going to be a very close fight between Ogier and Mikko. But you never know what's happened with Sebastian either, you know.
Like Petter, Mikko Hirvonen needs to keep the pressure on the rally leader over these last 2 stages, or he could leave himself too much to do on the 65 kilometres of day 3. Loeb said he wanted to take at least a 20-second lead into day 3. Mikko gains 1.5 seconds on the leader in stage 14. Does he think he still has a chance?
There's quite a lot of time gap now to Sebastian for tomorrow, and still it's going to be very close with Ogier and Petter as well, so it's going to be a hell of a fight, that's for sure.
After the searing pace he's shown in back-to-back victories recently, Ogier's turn of speed in the previous test will have alarmed his rivals. Like Hirvonen though, he was a couple of seconds slower than the leader through Montilerno. They might be running out of time to catch the leader. There is certainly a thrilling fight on the cards for 2nd place. Danny Sordo seems to have survived his earlier throttle scare. For now, it's all about getting as many kilometres of competition as possible, and this brand new Mini has shown great potential. Sordo holds 6th at the end of day 2. That impressive finish to the day for Lowe puts him in a strong position going into the final day. With 65 kilometres to go, Seb holds a lead of 28.3 seconds, and it's all still very tight in the fight for second. Has Loeb done enough? You can keep an eye on WRC.com throughout the final day to find out, and make sure you join us again tomorrow to watch the exciting climax to the Rally d'Italia.